to send you about 5 Zoom links to get you on. Now let me ask you this question. You said the email was in your spam folder. What are you doing? What is my email in spam for? I can't get like the real. I can't be in your real folder.
Figure it out. It ain't complicated.
Are you saying all my?
You have people that want to get access to you over here, and you have people you don't want to get access to you over here.
I thought the laptop guy cleaned out all my files, so none of that stuff is on there. You're saying I'm flagged. All my texts and emails are flagged.
Just saying, man, you're a suspect.
We're sitting here December 21st. I had to double check. I'm in Charlotte right now, getting ready for studio tonight. You were on a couple of Zooms earlier, getting ready for the Razorback game tonight.
Yep. From my house here. Yep.
Doing it from the house, and I guess we got the home kit again.
Yep.
What coming off that game against Bradley, good win.
Yeah.
Good Oklahoma game. We'll get into a little bit about tonight's game, what you think, and overall. But just what have you thought about the season that's jumped up at you so far?
I've been very pleased. I think they're ahead of schedule. I think when you compare it to the last couple of years when they've had good runs in the tournament, I think they've shown that they've got they're grasping the defensive end of the floor a lot quicker than I think the last couple of years, which is a little surprising. Bringing 11 new guys, 6 freshmen. I think it's a testament to Coach Muss, but I think it's also a testament to those guys, and especially the 2, Kamani Johnson and Devo, that have been held over in helping to the coaching staff deliver the message that you're going to play defense, or you're not going to play. And so I think it's a testament to the younger guys and the newer guys listening, but I think it's also the 2 veteran guys that they got coming back helping relay that message and letting everybody know the importance of it. And
so
talented group.
What did you find when you were coaching? Because you coached and recruited. You would coach Shields at UALR. It seems that these group of guys, Anthony Black, came from a program where they played in stress defense. Had to. Right. Jordan Walsh, his high school coaches, AU coaches, had to have stress defense. Nick Smith Jr. Well, have you found when you were on the recruiting trail, how common was that, where you know you were recruiting a guy that actually knew what defense was?
Yeah. Well, just a couple examples here in Arkansas. Coach Flanagan, when he was at Parkview, loved to get his guys, loved to try to recruit Wes Swift's guys at Jonesboro. You have guys that we used to call their players are house broke. You don't have to. They've been hearing about their mistakes defensively, bad shots. They're not coming in thinking that they got all the answers, because they've been told by their coaches that you got a lot to learn, and that if you don't do this, this, and this, you won't play. And so you find out real quick, your junior colleges, your high schools, you even when you see guys that are transferring, are they coming from this guy or they're coming from that guy? And it's not the ultimate factor, because, as you know, Pat, talent, size, and all that stuff weighs out at the end. But it sure gets your attention, because the other thing is those guys are going to give you the straight scoop on them. They're not going to sugarcoat. They're going to tell you what the player is and what his strengths and so forth are, and makes it a lot easier to evaluate.
So you had a Zoom with Coach Musselman. This probably is not going to air in time for their game tonight against UNC Asheville. But what were some of the overall things that you asked Muss and that he said that jumped out to you?
Well, Coach Musk, we had Coach Smart because
Okay.
He couldn't get on there, but I mean he's very, as you know, he's elite basketball mind in his own right. They were really kind of talking about how the team is growing. They've had some setbacks, with TB going down, but they're really happy with Walsh. They like the fact that they're playing good defense, but they're playing defense and they're getting steals, deflections, and they can really push the pace of play. They can get out in the open floor, and that is what they want to do. And they like how they're sharing the ball, and just they're cautious because you're getting ready to start the gauntlet, but they seem like they're in a really good place and happy with where they are.
December, I was getting this conversation with someone the other day. December is an extremely quirky month, man.
Oh,
because I don't know if a lot of fans understand. So, you play quite a bit of games November. You stop practice October. You play a couple exhibitions October. November, you're traveling. You're playing a bunch of games. December, boom, you hit the brakes.
Yep.
Finals, you may not play a game for a week.
Yep.
10 days. Christmas, you know what guys' minds are. Go home 2 days for Christmas? What?
We saw that last night. The carnage, the carnage in the SEC last night. I mean,
right. And so I got studio tonight, so I'm going to remind everybody the challenge that is December. Like, remember Coach Frank Burroughs used to say, they always remember November.
Yeah.
Well, in college basketball, you probably want to not remember December. How did you deal with that with you guys and your staff?
Oh, it's hard because you go from, it's like you're talking about, you got a routine. You've got your practice starts and you've got this routine of class and got to be here and got to be there and got to be here. And then all of a sudden finals come and that's different, for a week, no game, changing practices around to fit, exam schedules, maybe guys missing practice or, just, it's what the coaches, what we'd always say, handle your business, get your business done. And then you get back on, kind of getting into a routine again. And then Christmas comes. Yeah. And like you said, I mean, I did it as a player. I've seen it as a coach. I mean, you can sit there and say all you want. Arkansas can sit there all they want tonight, and Coach Musk can harp on it all he wants about how they got to be in the moment tonight. But I can promise you, a third or a half of that mind is thinking, I'm going home for 2 or 3 days. I'm getting to go home and do whatever. And so, and then, you can make this, teams like Asheville, Wofford, Drake, they can make their season in one night, and you can mess up your season in one night, like right now. And so it's a hard time to coach, because there's a lot of downtime for the players as far as they're not having class and everything. It's a good time to get in the gym, get extra work, extra shots, and all that stuff. But it's just different. It's like it's like a mini season inside of a season.
Yeah, it's a unique. I was talking to Rick Barnes, Coach Barnes, last week as they were on their way to play Arizona, and they actually went out there like a day early to try to get their, their West Coast legs. So it is, man. It's just it is what it is. I mean, but people have to realize until there's robots out there on the court,
yeah, yeah,
human beings will be human beings.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
They get us human beings. We get distracted.
yes, very easily, very easily. So Trevin Brazil goes down. I don't know if you have an update on Nick Smith Jr. right now. I realize he didn't go back into the game against Bradley. I don't know. I guess it's game time decision for him. I don't like the fact that it's the second time he's got the issue with his knee.
Yeah.
Obviously, what I don't like about it is for him personally.
Right.
I'm not even just nothing to do with the team and their expectations. It's just about him and the incredible future he has. Without those two guys, let's say moving forward, you thought Arkansas was what at the beginning of the year, Final Four, and how does those two guys not having them change drastically?
Well, I mean, I always am very cautious about saying that because I looked at them as a one of 20 that had a shot.
Yeah,
I think that's the way you got to look at college basketball because you've seen it, Pat. I mean, who had North Carolina coming in their last year, or even 2 years in a row, Arkansas getting to the Elite Eight, and everybody was saying Gonzaga or this team or that team. 4 or 5 years ago, Texas Tech makes it to the finals. I mean, it's like, so I think they were one of 20, or so that if they play good, they got a shot. You can't say that, and they got a shot to win it all.
right.
You get a lot of teams that if they play good, they got a shot to get to the tournament or win a game in the tournament, but there's a ceiling there. Arkansas's ceiling with those two guys, in my opinion, was the ultimate ceiling. So I think now you gotta see, you gotta plug and play, next man up, all that stuff comes into play, and you gotta see what you got. I mean, they were touting this might be the most talented team that Arkansas has had in forever. Well, now Devo's probably gonna play more minutes if Nick is hampered, and Kamani Johnson, your bigs, your smalls, Dunning, Pinion, Ford, guys that aren't getting any minutes, maybe they start sliding in there. We've been all kind of waiting to see what Graham, can do, because he's really a unique looking long guy that can put it on the floor and do some things. Can he grasp the defensive things that are going to allow him to play? And those things are kind of all in play. And I think, again, if Nick doesn't play tonight, then you're kind of in an audition phase to where they're gonna have certain people they're gonna put in there, but other people are gonna have to take the backup. If Devo plays now, starts, then somebody else has got to come in off the bench. And okay, how does that? You're auditioning, you're showing Muss, and as we've seen, Muss is going to find what he wants. Like he did last year, with Wade. He kept tinkering and tinkering and tinkering and changing it. And finally, Wade figured it out and said, I'm going to play some defense. And it was off to the races. So I think there's going to be a little of that going on. And I think, I still think they got the talent to make a run. I think their margin of error without those two guys, it's not quite as good as, because Nick can create shots out of nothing for you offensively. You don't have to always run something, and it doesn't have to be a perfect play set for him. Shot clock's going down, he can go get you one. Right. And then Trevin was a guy that, Nick goes to get one and misses. Well, he can clean it up and put it in for you. Guy gets beat on defense. Trevin was a guy that could clean up a lot of messes at both ends of the floor and make you look like a really good coach, And so,
how about this, Joe? How about this? Trevin Brazil, I got the updated stats. He's still the second leader in 3-point field goals made on the team, only to Ricky Council, who's got one more than him.
Yeah.
So you're talking about a guy that is one of your, arguably could have been your second best 3-point shooter outside of Nick Smith Jr.
Right. And then his ability to do that and put it on the floor was a matchup nightmare,
Yeah.
for a lot of guys. So
do you think what he's shown already, you think he's had his last game in Fayetteville? I hope he's not listening to this and I'm giving him any ideas, but I'm just saying, 6'9", he's put on a great audition.
I don't know, Pat, because I mean, I don't know what the timetable but all your pre-draft workouts, and I can't see, I don't know that he's going to be ready for all that. So
right.
I don't know that somebody would do a number one on him. Somebody might take a number two with him. And nowadays, old NIL may come calling and say, come on back for another year. So the way that thing is now, I mean, who knows?
Hey, I think it's been pretty good to him his first year.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, he's not hurting.
No, it's just getting better.
He's not worried about getting that laundry check, is he? Like you.
Hey, it was, and then by the time I got there, it was like maybe my sophomore year. They started giving, because the chow hall was closed on the weekends. So in addition to the laundry money, they had given us food money, like $20. I mean, it was like,
for the weekend.
For the weekend.
I remember Coach Sutton used to hand us $5 after the game to go get something to eat. I'm looking at him, I'm like, can't even get a 6-pack with that, Coach.
Everybody's pooling their money
I'll tell you what was great though, is like when you would forget about that laundry check and you'd miss about 8 weeks and you go down there and you'd have about $70-$80.
Yeah.
Be like,
well, that's what it was. So we used to on the road games, we'd get our per diem, and Dave England would put them in the little tiny yellow envelope.
Yeah.
And you were able to, because of team meals.
Oh yeah.
And after the game, they gave you a sack with a sandwich in it.
Yeah.
So the goal was to stack those up as much as you could by the end of the year. And as you know, the more deeper into the tournament you go,
oh yeah,
more per diem. And so that was like when you went home in May, went back to the old neighborhood, you had stack.
You're like, hey Johnny, come here, kid.
Hey Johnny. That was. Did you go home? You guys went home every summer off season, or did Coach make you stay there?
I'd go home for a little bit, but I needed to have it. I'd get a summer job, so I'd get an apartment and a summer job for the summer most of the time. I never. No, I was never at home, not for the whole summer.
A summer job?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't intense, but I had to show up.
You said to be there.
Don Tyson told me, he's like, hey, I'll at the end of the summer, whatever you gross, and I was making $8 an hour or whatever it was. I can't remember. He goes, whatever you gross, I'll cut you a check for your gross. So basically, I will double my, he said basically instead of making $8, you're gonna make $16 an hour, which, illegal probably, but so I mean, he didn't know who he was messing with there. I didn't miss because there were a couple football players a year before that didn't show up, didn't do anything, and he was like, I'm not doing that again, And so, and I was like, cool, but I worked till the very last day before school started, and I mean, I walked in there and I made like $2,500, and in 1983, that was a ton of money, and he didn't believe me. He had called the payroll people in there to double check it, and I was just sitting there, and I was like,
yeah. Big Joe eked out every minute in the time on the timesheet.
Yep.
We had
I wore it out.
me and Guy Whitney had this idea. We thought it was a great idea. We started a lawn care service business one summer in Fayetteville. We had our picture. It was we had give us a shot at your lawn, and we thought we'd be invited over to have like iced tea, kick back, relax on the couch. We took one job, and they're all day ripping out roots. That business lasted one day. we got to work.
That heat started coming, and you thought you were going to be on a rider with some shades on.
Oh, we thought we'd just get invited over for lunch and then cut us a check. No, it didn't work like that.
No.
Before I let you go, I know you get your game tonight. Ricky Council has been fantastic. Just really exceeded my expectations. I knew he was a good player, but I didn't know he could do this.
Oh, me too.
A man's playing 36 minutes a game, averaging 19, right at 19 points, close to top of the SEC. I mean, how do you think, is that going to continue? What's going to change? His minutes, the production? How difficult is that going to be throughout the SEC?
It'll change because the competition will get better. I mean, he's gonna be playing against some better players. So I mean, but I still think, his size and his explosiveness, his strength. I mean, he can really get in there. He's got a good handle. I really, the more they can get him in transition, the more they can get him in an open floor. I mean, you can't stay in front of him, and then he's just a tremendous finisher. So I mean, I really, think it's going to be predicated on their abilities defensively to cause some havoc to where they can get him in the open floor. I still think he's good in the half court, but as you've seen him in the open floor, I mean, he's a beast. I mean, He is a beast. So I don't know that it will continue, but I think it's not going to be because he's doing anything different. I think they're going to just be playing better players and better teams. And so, but I'm like you. I am very, very surprised at how good. I knew he was an athletic guy, but he's really shown some basketball skill. Was a lot better than I thought it would be.
When I did the game, I did their game early on. One of the this was against Troy, and I noticed it might have been over the Hawaii trip that Coach Musselman started using him in high ball screens, like he was playing some point guard, and I asked Ricky about that, and he said that he is every player. He said I could always do that, but sometimes you get that reputation for being a slasher, athletic, catching on the wing, just get to the rim. So that's a good thing because of whatever's going to happen with Nick Smith Jr. Ricky's a guy that can come off a ball screen with the ball in his hands, and he's shown to be a playmaker. And it's been so painful watching college basketball at times this year because some offenses, some teams are brutal.
Yeah.
50 scoring in the 50s, and they're trying to tell me the game of basketball has changed, and you can't even score 55 points. Right. Come on, that's ridiculous. So I think it's I just see players who aren't skilled enough trying to play like they are skilled instead of ball movement, player movement, all that stuff that
they start pounding that ball and they don't go anywhere with it. And now you got that shot clock and it's ticking, and you got the wrong dude with the ball in your hands, and that's not a good idea.
Yeah, I love the 80s. I love 80s NBA.
Oh.
That was beautiful to watch. And let me ask you this. I was talking to I think it was Rex Chapman that said, is Larry Bird 7 feet tall?
No.
He's got to be 6'11", Joe.
No, he's 6'9".
Come on.
No, he's 6'9", maybe 6'10". No, he's
huge.
He's not 7 feet tall.
All right, 6'10". He can't be 6'9".
He's probably about 6'3" right now.
Are you ever going to take me to French Lick to hang out with Larry? Larry Legend?
If you get up off of some of that studio money you're making, well, I can make it happen. Taking all that studio money like you took that per diem and hiding it under your mattress up there in Gloucester.
Well, hey, I know it wouldn't cost me much because what you and Larry drinking Miller Lights, so that's I can probably get some.
You wouldn't have to worry about buying any beer.
That would probably send me to the
might ask you to mow his yard though. I mean, so if he finds out about your lawn service with Whitby, he might ask you to get out there. He's kind of a nerd about his yard, so he might throw you on a tractor or something. That I'd pay to see that. With a Miller Lite, you on a tractor, that would be a sight to behold.
Well, yeah. Truth be told, I'd probably be trying to cut his sidewalk and cut the street rather than who knows where I'd end up if I was driving that thing with a Miller Lite. All right, Big Joe, get you in a pregame nap, man. Appreciate it.
All right, brother. Good to see you. Talk to you tonight.
All right, yeah. Talk to you tonight. Thanks, Joe.
Okay, you bet.